gentlemen. Our pre-molded Tuff toe comes with everything you need for application. You're going to get your sandpaper, your adhesive spreader, and all instructions needed for application. All right, welcome to Tuff Toe's molded Tuff toe application demonstration. I'm going to show you guys how to apply our molded Tuff toe piece. It's our pre-formed molded Tuff toe that glues on to pretty much any size and style of baseball or softball cleat. Some tools that we don't provide are heavy-duty wire cutters. This makes life really easy. If you had some heavy scissors, that might do it, but really these wire cutters are the key. Also, you're going to need a pencil or a pen. I like using a pencil if it's a white shoe on the top, but you definitely need an ink pen to mark where we're going to have to cut the molded Tuff toe. And then you need a heat source or a hair dryer. Anyone will work. Grab this from my daughter because we're going to heat it. It's going to be one of the final steps. So the very first step we're going to do is to stuff the shoe, the front half of the shoe, with some newspaper. Get it nice and tight in there so that it's nice and taut, so that when we align our Tuff toe and sand and prep and do everything we're going to do, it doesn't give. We've got a rubber sole base or softball cleat, my Tuff toe. The Tuff toe, there's an etched arrow pointing down to the tip of the shoe. I've kind of outlined it here because it's hard to see without that outline. This is the alignment area, and so we want to take that arrow, align it with the tip of the cleat. And you'll see that as we try to push it down there, and we see that we need to trim some of the edge of this toe. So we're going to mark it. Everywhere we need to trim it. And now we're just going to notch that out. And the more that you trim, the better it's going to fit. And you'll see exactly where you need to trim more. So that's pretty good. The only problem is you'll notice that right here there's a gap. And we're trying to get this flat edge to lay as flat as possible on the cleat. And sometimes there are these ancillary cleats that are at the sole edge and they're plastic or the rubber if it's a rubber sole. So we either need to grind these down, sand them down, or if you have your handy heavy-duty wire clippers, you can just snip them right off. So you can see I have snipped all those off. That allows me to better fit this on the sole. And now I can trace, I like to use a pencil on a white cleat, I can trace around the area of the toe so I know what I need to sand on the upper. It's hard for you guys to see it, but I can see an outline of my pencil here. So I'm going to take my sandpaper and really rough it up. If it's a full grain leather shoe, it'll buff out really quickly and easily. So this takes a little elbow grease, but as you can see, I'm getting below the skin of this synthetic leather. And that's really what you want to do, is if you can get down into the leather to give us something to bite into. In the interest of time, I've already done this one. So I've sanded this by hand. I have sanded the sole edge, and also on a rubber sole or a plastic sole cleat, especially if they're brand new, you want to hit this, wipe it down with an acetone solution, some paint thinner, acetone, even nail polish remover. It will help to eat away at the silicone mold release, that residue that might still be on there. So we've got the shoe sanded. Then we also need to sand the inside of the Tuff toe. And so you'll just spend a couple minutes sanding it, and you can really feel the difference between when it was nice and smooth and after you've roughed it up. The next step then, once we have the toe ready to go and the molded toe prepped, now we're going to apply the glue to the inside of the Tuff toe and to the outside of the shoe. We're going to let them cure separately. That way, when we go to apply the toe, we have time and room to make adjustments. If they were wet and you put it on and you get it kind of off center, you won't be able to adjust it. So that's why we allow it to etch itself into both substrates separately, fully dry. Then we manipulate it where we want it, and then we're going to heat it. So let's apply the glue. Remove the cap, puncture it with the other end of the cap, and I'm just going to apply some glue and use my handy dandy spreader, and I'm going to make sure that all the surfaces of this molded toe are coated, the inside. And I want to make sure I get plenty on this sole edge, or on the sole. There's plenty of adhesive, and if you purchase the Tuff toe directly from us, we throw in an extra one. All right, so we've got that, we set that down, and we do the same on the shoe. Just like frosting a cake. You want to make sure we get it nice and generous here. It sets up as you go. And then again, quite a bit on this sole edge, on the sole itself. Plenty of glue. You won't use it all at this point. All right, so we've got plenty of glue on both substrates. We're going to let them cure and set up separately until they're fully dry. If you see thick spots, you touch it and it still feels wet and cool, just let it continue to set up and dry. This is dry. The glue has been sitting there for probably 20 minutes or so. The glue is dry on the inside of the toe. I go back, align it where I want it. It's covering all my prep marks. It's nice and flat. And now I want to apply heat. And the idea is we're trying to get the glue on the outside of the shoe and the inside of the toe to about 120 degrees. That will fuse together at that point. While it was setting and curing, it was etching itself into both substrates, the outside of the shoe and the inside of the Tuff toe. Now it's just a matter of applying heat while you apply pressure. I'm not going to blow your ears out by doing this, but you're just heating and squeezing all the way around. You're trying to heat this toe up. It might take you a good 10 minutes. You're just going to go all the way around and heating, and you will see if there's any areas that have lifted or anything, just take the glue that you still have and squeeze it and kind of trace the outline, especially on the sole edge, with more glue, and get glue underneath there. You don't have to let it set or anything because you already have it adjusted and positioned, and then continue to heat. It'll take you 5-10 minutes, and you'll see how good of a job you've done of prepping the shoe and how flat it lays by if it wants to lift it up. Just put more glue in there if it does. And then here is the finished product. You can see it's changed a little bit of color. This is a shoemaker adhesive, so it does have some flex and bend to it, so it will stretch with the shoe. But this is a perfect molded Tuff toe application. The advantage of the molded Tuff toe is that it is more economical than our Tuff Toe Pro. The advantage of the Tuff Toe Pro is that because it's going on as a liquid, it'll go wherever you want it. You don't have to do as much prep work to the toe piece because it's liquid. You still need to sand the bottom of the cleat though, but you don't need to remove anything on the bottom of the sole either because it's going on as a liquid. So if you haven't checked that out, then you can see an application demo video on the Tuff Toe Pro as well. But thanks for watching. This is how you apply our molded Tuff Toe. Thanks.